Hello, Joe Callaway. Welcome to the Doing CX Right show.
It's great to be here. I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing your heartbeats with us now. As my friend says, I quote her, I love the work that you're doing, the content that you're sharing. And so let's dive deep. First,
Let's do it.
Who are you? What do you do for a living?
Well, what I did for a living, Stacy, for a long time was I was a speaker for corporate events, spoke all over the world, actually had a range of subjects on the journey, everything from culture, leadership, branding. It's interesting, it ended up in kind of a combination of leadership and customer experience, and evolved into now most of my work is I don't really do speeches anymore. I do a lot of one-on-one advisory work with entrepreneurs, with owners of small businesses, with CEOs of some pretty big businesses. And so I've kind of changed the delivery system. But what I do now, since I'm not on the road anymore that much, I'm involved with 4 companies. 2 of them are real estate development companies. One of them is a snowboard ski manufacturing company that we've got. And then the other one, which is a lot of fun, is I'm in the wholesale Kentucky bourbon business. But all of those businesses are very customer focused. And so I'm trying to practice what I preach.
Love that. Why such passion around customer experience, customer service? Why devote your career to that?
Yeah, it's not anything mysterious or complicated. As I worked with companies, I would notice the ones that were obviously a, a step above the others, that were a category of one. And the one thing, they had a number of things in common, but one was they all had leadership that was extremely customer experience focused. And that just kind of caught my imagination and it caught my interest. And so I dove deep on that. And that's what it was. It's just like all of the great companies tend to be doing a lot of these same things in common. And when I say same things in common, I'm not talking about them copying each other. I'm not talking tactically as much as I am values, philosophy, and strategy. But there were a lot of common threads, and they all ended up at the customer.
So when I say doing customer experience right, doing CX right, which is the theme of this show, what does that mean to you in your perspective?
What it means to me is to start at the beginning, because a lot of people say, well, let's not talk about the basics. Let's talk about something really special. No, let me rein you back in. Let's talk about the basics, because great customer experience starts with this: flawless execution of what you promised. There's a company, and I've got a great example of what can happen. Hopefully they're on the rebound. For years, everybody wrote about, spoke about, every customer service survey, customer satisfaction had them at the top. I was a huge fan and a customer, still a customer, Southwest Airlines. Everybody loves Southwest Airlines. They're so friendly. The flight attendants tell funny stories. Wow, cherry on top, cherry on top. Isn't it just great? And then last winter, the airplane stopped running because they hadn't invested enough in their systems. Listen, when you stop delivering on your promise, I don't care what special sauces you have going, nobody cares. I've always said, and people go, well, surely that's not enough. But I've always said this. I've said, win on the basics, and you win. And people say, well, you got to do more than that. No, wait a minute. I'm not saying be adequate or be as good as everybody else on the basics. If you can win, I mean win, on your customers' basic expectations, that's huge. And it's hard. It's not easy to do that. But a lot of times, I think when people think customer experience, I'll give you a concrete example. Restaurant that was featured in an article, and they said, we've got a regular customer that was at home sick. She posted on social media, I'm at home sick. If only I could have a bowl of whatever soup from my favorite restaurant, so-and-so. So Stacy, guess what they did? They boxed up a bowl of soup and they took it to her. And in the article, they said, that's how we treat our customers. And I said, no, that's how you treated one customer on one special day, and that'll happen maybe 5 times in the course of the year. The way you treat your customers is, how easy is parking? How quickly does the host or hostess come up and greet you when you walk into the restaurant? How quickly do you get seated? How quickly do they take your order? Is the food good? Is the food warm when it's brought to your table, or cold if it's supposed to be cold when it's brought to your table? That's how you treat your customer. But people love to go to this cherry on top stuff. And my philosophy, and listen, I'm all for that. I love all the special little cool things that we do. But instead of worrying about putting the cherry on top of the cake, make a better cake. That's way harder work. And people a lot of times want to say, give me a secret shortcut to get to great customer service. There's really not a shortcut.
I love this comment. And we're really emphasizing here consistency and common practice,
Boom.
not the one-offs, right? It's not the one-offs.
Let me say a couple of things about that. You just flipped a switch with me. I've always said that there are some companies that unfortunately should put a sign up over their front door that says, feel lucky, come on in. And then down in the bottom in parentheses, it'll say, depends on who you get. And we can all relate to that. Here's the thing, consistency, couple of comments. If I were to say to you, you've got a company of whatever, you've got 500 employees, a lot of them are customer facing. And I say, so Stacy, who should I go to for great customer service in your company? What would the best answer be? Any of them. I'm not going to send you to this one or that one or that one. Close your eyes, point. Whoever you point at will give you great customer service. And oh my gosh, I was working with a grocery store chain, and one of the managers said, we've got a superstar in our grocery store. She mostly does checkout. And if you look at our checkout lines, there's 8 of them. There will be 2 in this line, 1 in that line, and in her line, there's 20 people waiting because she's so good. Isn't that great? And I said, no, that's really, really not great. You've got 1 person out of 8 that your customers want to deal with.
Yeah.
And, consistency of performance among employees, that's hard. That's not easy, but because it takes a tremendous investment in time, in training, but not just training, attention from leadership, from CEO all the way down through all the management levels. And so it's hard stuff, but that's how you do it.
I actually put on LinkedIn yesterday an article and commented on the topic is Toys R Us is making a comeback. And they're opening some stores for the holiday and thereafter. And it's a great topic because I wrote, will they thrive or will they go back to the graveyard? And so I comment on that. What is your view of brands that are very nostalgic? Toys R Us for sure. I still sing the lingo. I'm a Toys R Us kid. And how do you become a category 1 again?
It's 2 things, because the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is online competition. The thing about Toys R Us that I think was their big category of one advantage among brick and mortar stores truly was the experience. It was a giant playground. And the other stores, not as much. And so you remember the jingle because you were a Toys R Us kid and you went to you could play at Toys R Us. Well,
Yeah.
then online comes along and mom or dad or both can just sit in the living room and order, all the toys they need for Christmas off of Amazon. And so, two things. Does Toys R Us decide to compete online, or do they say, and I don't know what their strategy is, you may know what they're thinking about online, but they're going to have to become a magnet to get them back in the store physically. They're going to have to become a magnet for kids that want to play because you can beat them on price somewhere. You can get the same toy somewhere else somewhere. But if you've got three kids saying, Mom, we want to go to Toys R Us, we want to go to Toys R Us, then boom, that's your differentiator right there. So you've got to really up the ante on that in-store playground experience.
Well, I also think what we're